This is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. It says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth." Yes, so just want to open up by giving all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakaha Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS, to USA Shalom, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, Kwame Yashala and Abad Babal. I just wanted to bring this out, because of the whole O.J. Simpson death. Rest in peace. O.J. Simpson is now in his rest. He went back up to the spirit realm. The Lord took his spirit back, and now he's at peace. He's at home, and he's going to come back into the kingdom of heaven. Not as a slave. He's going to come back into royalty, right? But it says here, O.J. Simpson dead at 76, and he died due to cancer. And I'll say this, man, O.J. Simpson on this side, even though he wasn't in the truth, he was still an Israelite. He's still a son of Jacob. He's a son of Yasha Allah means he is the prince of the power. And you saw that. He had a lot of power. He was like a god. He was known as the Juice, football sensation, and all the other accolades that he carried going into his acting career. And overall, it seemed like he was a very cool person, a cool man, and he was a serious man. Give me 1 second. Here you go. Bye-bye. Okay. He was a serious man, but he was still an Israelite. He was a son of God. He was a son of God. But I'll say this, on this side, he was used to expose the hatred of you so-called white people, because his trial, his case, exposed how race relations between so-called blacks and so-called whites was very bad, and it was very tacky, right? His trial exposed the perpetual hatred that the so-called white man has for the so-called black man. Even though this man was pronounced innocent, these so-called white people still went after him. They made it their due diligence to make this man look bad, even though he was innocent, right? That's messed up. And I'll say this, it was him and Rodney King that pretty much exposed how race relations between blacks and whites were very bad, man. Very, very bad. And Rodney King exposed, the police brutality. It goes more into that, and exposed LAPD and how they're racist. But, it showed how race relations between blacks and whites were bad. I'll say OJ and Rodney King were very significant. But I remember this happened when I was a little boy, but I don't really remember what took place. And I asked my parents, and my parents, they told me that pretty much, man, this exposed how Esau Edom was very evil, because the way my mother and the way my father said it, when they looked at the case, they basically explained it and said that pretty much that case was a so-called win for you so-called blacks, and it was a so-called loss for you Edomites. And my mom, she told me she went to, I think it was like a dinner, right? It was like a dinner, like a dinner that she had with her coworkers back then, the company that she worked with. And while they were having dinner in the restaurant, right, that actual that actual case was being played on the television, and everybody was glued to the TV. And when that verdict came out of him being innocent, she said, you should have seen all the looks on these white people's faces. They were very upset about that. And the black people, in the restaurant. They were happy. They were cheering for him. And she saw the hatred of Esau Edom. She saw the hatred, and she heard a lot of derogatory comments come out of these so-called white people's mouths when that verdict was made. So this exposes how Esau Edom is really wicked, and this also shows that the stars of Babylon has fallen, and pretty much Babylon is done. Babylon is done. Now, I'll just say this. Where is O.J. Simpson now? O.J. Simpson, he's in his rest. He's with the Most High. He's with the Most High. And he's sleeping. And his spirit was brought back to the spirit realm. And he's happy. I believe that goes into Job, the 3rd chapter. And pretty much Job, man, when you go into that whole verse, Job, the 3rd chapter, it's really Job crying, Job expressing his grief. He is sad as hell, catching a lot of hell. And, Job pretty much said, I wish I had never been born. Right? Why can't the Lord take me? Right? Why can't I go back into the spirit realm and go back to where the Most High is so I can experience peace? Why do I have to live on this earth? Right? So OJ is not in hell. He's actually with the Heavenly Father right now. So this is Job chapter 3. I'm going to start at, I think, 15 or 16. Oh, okay, verse 17. So it says, there the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together, they hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul. Yeah, so this is talking about how now he's at rest. When you die, you're at rest. You go back, your spirit goes back to the Heavenly Father. And guess what? You're not going to experience any troubles. You're not going to be a slave. You're going to be free from your master. And O.J. Simpson, man, even though he was very rich and successful, he was still a tributary in Babylon. He still had to pay homage to the so-called white man. Now that he's in the spirit realm, he's no longer subject onto taxes and payments. He's at rest. And right now he's looking down, and he's actually cheering on. He's actually cheering on the saints, and he's cheering on the elect, and he's hastening the kingdom, and he's asking the Lord to avenge the saints, pretty much, right? Pretty much. So let me just get another precept. This is Job, chapter 14 and 12. Just going into how you're pretty much asleep and you're at rest when you die, because he's not in hell. He's not in hell being tormented by the spiritual demon Satan with a pitchfork in his hand. He's not in hell. He's actually in heaven. He's at rest and he's sleeping. So this is Job chapter 14, verse 12 here, and it says, so man lieth down and rises not till the heavens be no more. They shall not awake nor be raised out of their sleep. Okay, so yeah, he's at rest. Rest in peace. And he's at rest. He's back with the Heavenly Father. Okay, so he's not in hell getting tormented by the spiritual demon Satan. Okay, that's a doctrine of the Catholic Church, of Christianity, which that's bullshit. Now let me get Genesis chapter 4, because just going into how it plays out, when you're called back to the Heavenly Father, when your spirit's called back, how you're going to be expressing yourself. I'm gonna use the example of what happened to Abel. When he was murdered by Cain, and how he was asking the Lord to avenge him. That's what OJ's doing. He's asking the Lord to avenge him and to avenge the saints, and he's asking for payback. So this is Genesis chapter 4, verse. I'll start at verse 9. No, I'll start at verse 8, And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. Abel represents Jacob, represents you Israelites. Cain represents Esau, Edom, you so-called white people. And Cain, you always rise up against your brother Jacob, or right, you so-called white people, you always rise up against your brother, which is Jacob, and you always kill him. So it says here, Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. And Yahweh said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? He doesn't give a damn. He's like, no, I don't give a damn. He's not my brother. Why am I my brother's keeper? When that's your responsibility, you're supposed to watch out for your brother, right? Isn't that that's the second greatest commandment? Love thy brother, right? You got to love your brother. He doesn't love his brother. Verse 10, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Yeah, and that's true. Okay. And I'll just say this, murder is a crying sin. It's a part of the commandments, man. Thou shalt not murder. And blood calls for blood. All right. The blood of the murdered for the blood of the murderer. It cries in the dying words, right? So blood calls for blood at the end of the day, and that's very serious, right? That's very serious. That's why when you go into, let me get a precept. That's Zechariah, because the prophet, because when what's his name, Zechariah was killed by I believe Joash, the king. Even Joash the king, he admitted that, even though I slew Jehoiada's son, the Lord's going to look upon it and require of it, right? So you can't just kill somebody unjustly and then get away with it. You have to pay for that, and that's what the saints that have died, that's what they're crying out. They're asking the Lord to avenge them, right? And Jacob, you are going to be avenged by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right, mainly Yahushua. Yahushua is going to come back and he's going to avenge you for all the wickedness that was done onto you. Your punishment is up. It's coming to a close. It's coming to an end. It's almost up. Now let me get 2 Chronicles chapter 24 verse 20. Let me get 2 Chronicles. Oh shit. 2 Chronicles chapter 24 and 20. I'm going to start there. And it says here, Joash murdered son of Jehoiada, which Jehoiada was a priest, and he's the father of Zechariah the prophet, right? So it says, and the spirit of the Most High came upon Zechariah the son of Jehoiada the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, thus saith the Most High, why transgress ye the commandment? Salaki, give me 1 second. Salaki about that. I had to go take care of something. But yeah, where was I? So it says here, I'll read it again. So 2 Chronicles chapter 24 verse 20, and the spirit of the Most High came upon Zechariah the son of Jehoiada the priest. Yep, so this is going into Zechariah the prophet, which stood above the people, and said unto them, thus saith the Most High, why transgress ye the commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, that ye cannot prosper? Because ye have forsaken Yahweh, he hath also forsaken you. And they conspired against him, because he didn't like what he had to say, because he came in the spirit, he came in the truth. Right? And he came up against them, and he brought out the word, the spirit was on him. And they didn't like that. They didn't like that open rebuke. So they killed his ass. And so because ye have forsaken Yahweh, he hath also forsaken you. And they conspired against him and stoned him with stones. Yeah, so they conspired against him. They trapped him up and falsely accused him. And they just murdered him. At the commandment of the king in the court of the house of Yahweh, thus Joash the king remembered not the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done to him, but slew his son. And when he died, he said, Yahweh looked upon it and required it. That's right. So, if you murder someone, the Lord requires of it. So that shows you blood calls for blood. The blood of the murdered for the blood of the murderer. And the Lord requires that. And, the saints, when you go back into Genesis 4, Abel, he was talking to the Lord. He's like, Lord, aren't you going to avenge me? My blood is on the ground. It's crying out. What's going on? So, yeah, man, the saints, they're going to be avenged when Yahushua returns. That goes into Revelation, the 19th chapter. And also I'm thinking about Isaiah chapter 47 and 3. I will not meet thee as a man. The Lord's coming back as a power, man, as an angel, angelic force with an army, right? So the Lord is going to avenge us. He's going to avenge. Now, this going back into Genesis chapter 4, verse 10. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. That's right. And then afterwards you see Cain getting judged. He gets cursed, right? And you so-called white people, you're going to be judged and you're going to be cursed for what you have done. Now let me get Revelation chapter 6, verse 10 here. And it says here, Revelation chapter 6, verse 9. I'll start at verse 9. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High and for the testimony which they held. That's right, going into the saints, and they're going to be killed in these last days. The men of the Lord, the servants of Yahweh Shem Yoshai, the elect, they're going to be killed for Yahweh Shem Yoshai's sake, for pushing the word and staying faithful. Verse 10, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? That's right. So that's what the saints are doing, man. The saints are saying, avenge us, avenge us. And they're cheering on the elect that are still here on the earth. And that's what OJ's doing, as a son, because right now he's up there in his right mind. That's what he's doing. He wants Babylon to go down, and he's asking the Lord to avenge the saints, right, and to bring the kingdom of heaven on the earth. Okay, so that's what OJ is doing right now, and he's resting in peace. Now let me get Mark chapter 13. I'll just bring this out just for edification. This is Mark chapter 13, verse 24. And it says, the return of Yahushua. But in those days after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then shall he send his angels, and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven. There you go. So Yahushua is going to come back. And also, the stars of heaven shall fall, going into your celebrities. Once you start seeing these celebrities dropping dead, because it's not just OJ, there's many celebrities of Babylon, they're dropping dead. But like I said, man, earlier, this shows that Babylon is going down. It's coming to an end. Reminds me of, I always quote this precept, 2 Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that falleth. And how do we know that Esau's world is ending? All these celebrities, these prominent people just dropping dead. Dropping dead, man. All your stars. And also the daughters of music will be brought low. Just roughly paraphrasing, that's going into the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. Right? So, yeah, the stars of heaven shall fall, right? And the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. So all your stars, all your celebrities, they're falling. They're falling. And yeah, man. So anyways, I hope this was edifying. Until next time, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Chodash, and the belongings to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule on, that do teach well, and that have taught me this truth. To you I say shalom, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Kwam Yashala and the Bible Ball. Shalom.